I gotta be quick on this one. This is already running like 20-something minutes, way too long. But I tried to shorten it up, and honestly, I just couldn't do it. It was not very good when I shortened it up. Actually, there wasn't anything good when I shortened it up. It was horrible. I tried to do it, but it just didn't work out. So I had to make it longer, and I'm sorry about that. I had this big idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take pacing, I'm going to take gaiting, I'm going to take trotting, I'm going to put them all under one umbrella, under one video, and we're going to talk about them. I shot my first clip, I looked down at it, and it said I was on there for like 4 or 5 minutes. I said, this ain't happening today. So I said, well, I'll go back, I'll reshoot it, and just shorten it up. And I went back to take some information out, and it was like, there wasn't anything that I could take out. So sorry about that, but it's not bull. I mean, the video isn't bull. I didn't try to shortcut anything. I didn't try to take anything away. So you can see everything pretty clearly. I hope you understand it clearly. I hope I did a good enough job there. I mean, when you're talking about gates, it can be a little bit confusing. So I try to start off real slow, but honestly, this video wasn't even supposed to be about gates. It kind of ended up that way a little bit. It's still not the main goal. The main goal was strictly for the definition of the terminology that I will be using in later videos, or maybe you just want to learn some terminology, or maybe you just need some terminology cleared up that you're just not quite sure about. You know, you're still on the fence. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page with me when I shoot a video, because you know, it's like being in the first grade. You go in, you learn the words, and then you learn the definitions. You do that so that you can learn more later on throughout your career. And it's pretty school career. And it's pretty much, is that right? The school career, or like education, in the educational career. And eventually, you know, you need to know the little things in order to understand the big things. So that's really the whole purpose of this video. And I understand that some people are going to be like, well, I already know this. But there are a lot of people out there that don't. And then you get toward the end, and you may think that you know something until you get to the end. And I'll be honest with you, when I started looking at this stuff in slow motion, and I started doing it in still pictures, it gave me a little bit different perspective than what I thought that I was going to have, just to be honest with you. So that's cool. But anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope it makes sense. I hope it's clear enough. If you make it to the end of the video, I know it's long, so if you don't, I ain't gonna hate you for it. But if you make it to the end of the video, I'll put something else there that I'm just gonna tell y'all about, that I'm gonna maybe start doing on my own news feed from time to time and stuff like that. But anyways, by the way, you know what that was? That was a Facebook handshake. That's the first one I've ever given out. The very first one. You know why I did that? Because y'all shared my video, you liked it, you loved it. Some of you put hearts on it. I appreciate it. But that was awesome. Like 20-some thousand views. Cool. I didn't really expect that. So anyways, for real, thank y'all. Alright, this is going to be the trot. This is on the farthest left part of the scale. This is one of your two main gaits. I know that says gait, but that is a 4-beat gait. When you hear me say gait, unless I put trot in front of it or pace, I mean a 4-beat gait. But in this particular scenario, the trot is the gait that we're about to focus on. And then after that, we're going to go to trotty, and we're going to compare these two so that you can see the difference. And then we're going to go to square and compare those two so you can see the difference, and maybe even throw back to the trot if necessary. I'm not sure that it will be. And then what we will do is go to the gait and then kind of compare all three if we can. So let's get to a live horse. Alright, this is the trot. Trot is fairly simple. I have the green, you can tell that the green legs are on the ground. These are opposite of each other, of one another. The orange legs are opposite of one another. So what I mean by that is the green one would be your right front, the back green one
would be your left back, and the front orange would be your left front, and the back orange would be your right back. You can tell that these the green legs are both on the ground at the same exact time, both slightly going forward a little bit, not necessarily underneath the horse or behind the horse. And this is because they have just struck the ground. If you'll look at the orange legs, they both are actually going in the same direction, which is both hooves are facing in a direction that is behind the horse. And the next phase that's going to happen is the orange legs are going to start moving forward, and now you'll see that the green legs are straight up. Both green legs are bearing weight evenly, whatever. Anyways, you can tell this because of that bend. See that bend right there? You have the same thing going on back here, plus you can tell that this is not in an upward motion either, an upward stance. So what's going to happen next is now the horse is going to continue to move the orange legs forward. Now the green legs are going in a backward motion. Next, the green legs are going to push the horse into the air. There will not be not one leg touching the ground for a split second. And after this happens, the horse will then, of course, hit with the orange leg and just keep repeating the same motion. This is the gait that you will see quarter horses do, thoroughbreds do, draft horses, miniature ponies or miniature horses. Sorry about that. I know how those miniature horse people feel about getting their little horses called ponies, so forgive me. But this is a very common gait, and it's very easy for the horse to do. In my personal opinion, I believe it's the easiest gait for a horse to do. Trotty. Alright. This is going to be after the trot, before square. It is exactly opposite of swingy and loose. If you look at this picture, you'll notice that the front green leg is the right leg, the back green leg is the left leg, the front orange is left, the back orange is the right hind. Colors are still on opposite legs, so it's pretty much the same as the colors are the exact same as the trotting horse. Okay, if you look at this, it pretty much looks like a trot. I mean, it does. You have two legs on the ground, two opposite legs on the ground. You have two opposite legs in the air, kind of in the same motion. You got a little bit more flip right here, and this one is not necessarily flipped up that way as much. But there is one big difference. Actually, not just one, there's about two or three. Alright, let's take a look at this one. Okay, on the left we have trot, on the right we have trotty. First thing I look at on the trotty horse, I look at his front green leg, it is slightly in a backwards motion. I look at the trot horse, her leg is going straight up and straight down. Now, why does that matter? Because that is telling me that the trotty horse is applying just a little bit more pressure on his front leg than the straight up trot, because his body has to be leaning forward just a hair. Well, when his body leans forward just a hair, what happens? The back right leg, the orange leg, tends to fly up in the air just a little more. Okay, now let's look at hers. See how hers isn't as high as his? His is further away from his back green leg than hers is. Well, why does that matter? When her orange leg passes her back green leg, it's going to time up with the opposite orange leg and hit the ground at the same exact time, right? His is not necessarily going to do that, because I think we can agree that if his leg's further behind if his orange leg is further behind his green leg, it's going to take a little bit longer for him to pass that leg than it would if you were in her position. Well, just that fraction, that small fraction, is going to make the biggest difference, because what is going to happen is the trotty horse is actually going to hit with his front right leg, or his front leg, before the back leg, and it's going to be really close, but his front leg will hit slightly before his back leg, as to oppose where the trotting horse, when its back leg hits, the front leg hits. They hit at the exact same time. So if you take that and just take just a little bit off, you can no longer say the horse is in a trot. But he is so close to a trot, I consider him trotty. And I will show you in the next clip a little bit better view. In this frame, you'll see that now there is this is where really the trotty horse is going to get its name. This is the big difference, and it's the fact that this orange leg is on the ground, the orange front is on the ground, but the back orange leg hasn't quite hit. Now it's a hair away from hitting. I know this leg is bearing a little bit of weight because it has a little bit of a curve, but not a lot. So I know it's not bearing all of the weight, because this back leg is still bearing some as well. But this leg is on its way down, but since this leg is already hit, it's a hair difference. So you cannot call this gait a straight up trot. This horse is trotty. Square. This is going to be between trotty and the fluid natural 4-beat gait. First thing, let me run over the legs real quick. The green front is the right front, the green back is the left back, the orange front is the left front, and the orange back is the right back. First thing you're going to notice about the square horse, he is standing all on one leg. All of his pressure is on one leg. He does not have another leg touching the ground in this particular frame. You will not see the trot horse do this. The trot horse will either have 2 legs on the ground or all 4 legs off of the ground. The trotty horse can have 1 leg on the ground, but he is going to be leaning more toward the gait if that is the case. The particular horse that you watched right before this horse seemed to always have at least 2 legs on the ground, sometimes 3. Now he may have been barely touching the ground, but he definitely was not doing a single foot as prominent as this particular horse right here is. On this frame, I took the trot horse, put her on the left. I took the trotty horse, put him in the middle. And I took the square horse and put him on the right. The point of this frame is to show you the distance between the green legs and all 3 horses. If you look at the trot, you can tell that her legs are further apart. Her opposite green legs are further apart than the trotty horse. And then if you look at the square horse, you can tell that his green legs are closer together than the trotty horse. So what is that telling me? The closer that we get to the gate, the closer these opposite legs are starting to be. This will remain true all the way up until we hit the perfect 4-beat gait. Now, once that happens, you will start to shift over to the pacey side, and when you do that, the legs will continue to get closer. Some people call this a good back end. personal opinion, that just because a horse has a greater overstride does not necessarily mean that that horse has a better back end. And I say that because just because a horse has more overstride could just mean that he is closer to the pace. And if a horse isn't hitting a true 4-beat gait, I don't really care how much overstride he has, because there is a line when it's not really a fact that the horse has a great back end if he's leaning more toward the pace. Does that make sense? I mean, now if he's got a big overstride and he is in a solid 4-beat gait, then yeah, I'll give it to him. Okay. These are the same exact photos that you just looked at. I just took the trot horse off, so I'll have the trotty horse on the left, I'll have the square horse on the right. The main reason for this frame was to show you the angle of the body and the angle of the legs. If you look at the square horse, you'll notice that his front green leg is up underneath him further, which means he is putting more pressure on this leg. What does that mean? That means that his chest is going to drop just a little bit, and since he is putting more pressure on this front leg, it's going to raise his butt up in the air some more than the trotty horse. Why does that matter? That means that both back legs will be further away from the ground than the trotty horse. Okay, well, why does that matter? That means if the legs are farther from the ground and the trotty horse is closer to the ground, which back leg do you think will hit first? The trotty horse's leg. The trotty horse's back leg will hit first. Well, guess what? If the trotty horse's back leg hits before the square horse's back leg does, what does that mean? That means that this trotty horse is closer to the trot. So that's telling us that the square horse is moving more toward the gait, and the trotty horse is more toward the trot. Because the longer it takes for that back leg to hit, the more, when we're talking about trotty horse or trot, you know, the trot family, the longer that it takes for that back leg to hit, the closer to the gait we are. Now, here are some key differences in these two horses. First, the sound. You will notice a big difference in the sound. The square horse will sound like he is more rolly, more fluid. It has a little bit better ring to it. The trotty horse will sound like he's kind of wanting to gait, maybe still kind of like the trot, but it sounds like he's going and stopping, going and stopping. The trotty horse is a young horse, or maybe not a young horse, but a horse that is just being started. The trotty horse is not going to stay on this stage unless you just allow him to stay on this stage, which I wouldn't understand why anybody would do that. But the trotty horse is either going to end up in two spots. He's either going to end up in the square phase, or he's going to end up in the fluid, natural 4-beat gait phase. Now, the square horse will actually sometimes stop in the square phase, and that's as far as this horse is going to go. And the reasoning for this is because of the way that this horse is bred. And that is not a bad thing. A square horse is one of my favorite horses on the chart, and the reason why is because these horses can have a lot of speed. This, in my opinion, is the fastest true gaited horse out of all of them, even the natural 4-beat gait. Now, the downfall to the square horse is between the speeds of 4 to 8 miles per hour, it's not going to be nearly as good as a ride as a natural 4-beat gaited horse. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, but I'm just talking about on average. The square horse, however, in my opinion, does make a really nice horse if you're looking to buy something that doesn't require shoes. So if you're not a person that shoes, you may want to look into a square type moving horse, because they don't ever really seem to shift to the pace, and they will actually gait fairly well without shoes, actually really well without shoes. Alright, this is going to be the 4-beat gait, the fluid 4-beat gait. I'm going to refer to this horse as the gait or the gaited horse, whatever. Alright, it's going to be 50% trot, 50% pace. This horse is right dead in the middle, and this was a very good horse to use for an example because he really is 50-50. And what I'm going to do is compare him to the square horse, since you already know about the square horse, and we're going to see why he is closer to the pace than the square horse is. We're going to see that right now. Alright, the horse that is gaited is on the right, the horse that is square is on the left. What is the first thing that I notice? I notice there is a little hoe on the front leg of the gaited horse. There is not a hoe on the front leg of the square horse. Why does that matter? Because that changes the distance between this foot and this foot. And on the square horse, if you look, that distance is shorter than it is on the gaited horse. Why does that matter? I don't know if y'all remember, but on the picture of the trotting mare, just straight up trotting mare, her distance between the feet that are on the same side is a lot less than the horse that is square. So if hers is less than both of these two, then we already know that if the horse is closer right here with these two hooves, then he is going to, the horse that is closer to the trot. So that is why this horse and this particular frame is square versus the horse in the frame that is the gaited horse. Now, in this particular frame, we're watching both horses on one foot. And when I look at this, first thing that I noticed is the back orange leg on both of these horses. What is different? Well, let's look at the square horse first. See, there is distance there. The hoof is already flipped up, and the foot is ready to take flight and go. On the gaited horse, if we look at his orange leg in the back, it's not up in there yet. It's barely off the ground. So which leg is going to pass the green back leg first? It's going to be the square horse, because he's already ready to take flight. He's already there. And these horses are in the exact same frame. So if this horse is ready to take flight and is about to, in just a split second, what does that mean? That means that the orange leg on the square horse is going to get closer to the orange leg on the front of, it's going to get closer to the orange leg in the front, which means that's what the trotter does, remember? And that is, this gaited horse is not going to get there as quickly. So let's just look at the next frame, and here is proof that that is going to happen. On the left is the straight up trot. On the right is the square. What do I notice? I look at her front orange leg. It is underneath her chest. I look at his front orange leg. It is even with the front of his chest. I look at her back orange leg. It is even, yeah, it's even with her butt, for lack of a better word. And his orange leg is past his butt. So if his orange leg, his orange back leg is past his butt, and his orange leg in the front is past his chest, and hers is under her chest, and even with her butt, that automatically tells me that there is more of a distance between his two legs, right? If we look at the two green legs, we can see a big difference in those two legs. So why does that matter? Well, if we come over here, this is the same picture that you were just looking at. We notice shorter distance, even the more the horse is gaited, we notice a shorter distance in between these two legs. Well, guess what? We notice a larger distance in between the two green legs, and it's just really obvious because his green hoof is almost to his mouth, and his back leg really isn't anything to compare it to except for the distance between here and here, but it's obvious that this leg is back further. So that is why this horse, the gaited horse, leans more toward the pace than the square horse, and the square horse leans more toward the trot. This is why the gaited horse will give you just a little bit better of a ride. I put all three of these together, and if you look, the trot is on your left, far left. See how close her back legs are together. If you look at the horse in the middle, it's a little bit further apart. And then if you look at the horse on the right, that is the gaited horse, and it is even further apart. So what does that tell us? A lot of your gait is going to come from your back end. A lot of it comes from your back end. The footfall of the front legs will determine how solid your horse is gaited.
Alright, I hope that was informative. I'm not sure if it was or not, but I hope it was. Did you hear what I said there on the end of that video though? When I said it, I didn't even realize what I was saying. And then when I went back and watched the video, because I watched the videos before I edited, before I put them up. And I listened to it, and it went something like, I don't know, most of the gait comes from the back end, but it is the footfall or the front feet that really determine how solid your horse is gaited. I listened to that and I was like, you know what? That's really true. It really, really is true. So I like that for some reason. But anyways, I know this was way too long, and I'm sorry, I really am, but I hope now that you watched, if you watched the video, if you made it all the way through, because like I said, I know it's long, there was no way around it. I had no way around it. So I had to make it like that. I'm going to do pacing next. The pacing part is coming after this. I already have all the video shot, so it should not take me that long to get up. I'm going to be doing short clips too on my news feed only. So these short clips will not like go to other pages and stuff like that. It will just be on my news feed, and maybe I'll just be answering some questions. Maybe I'll just be, taking some ideas and telling you what I'm going to be doing next, something like that. I know after I did my pacing video, the one prior to this one, I had some people ask me to do some videos. After I do my next pacing video, I'm going to do the video that you all want. I haven't narrowed down the 3 videos already. They came, like I said, they came out of that last pacing video. They seem to be the top 3 videos that I was asked to do. So what I'm going to do is maybe ask you guys on my news feed which video you want me to do, and the most comments for whatever video will win, and that'll be the next video I do right after this pacing video that is coming up. If you want to see that type of stuff, all you have to do is go to my page, my home page, and click the follow button, and you will see anything that I put up. So once again, I hope this was good. I hope it worked out, and until next time, I'll see you.